Welcome to the module on curation. Now, when it comes to curation and rewriting the rules of retail, there are essentially two avenues to perfecting curation. First, you can create your product offerings, or you can curate your retail experience. Now, during this module, I'll be diving into both, but I want to kick off by talking about how you can curate your product offerings. Now, the best way to explain how to really curate your product offerings comes to us from Barry Schwartz and his paradox of choice. The paradox of choice is best defined as a large amount of choice is commonly associated with welfare and freedom, whereas too much choice causes feelings of less happiness, less satisfaction, and can ultimately lead to paralysis. Now, that does seem slightly negative. However, reducing complexity and narrowing the amount of choice you provide your consumers can boost your revenue by 40%. Now, one way that we're seeing this come to fruition in the retail space today is through the insight Localized Urbanite, where we're seeing retailers not only reduce the size of their stores, but they're also reducing the amount of products they have on their shelves. One really great example of this comes to us from the grocery store Eat 17, located in London, England. The grocery store only sells locally grown products. So they have partnerships with different coffee companies, farmers, and even chefs, because they truly believe in offering their consumers quality and not just quantity. However, one of my favorite examples comes to us from the brand Nike. Now, Nike is a master of curation, and this is an example of one of their latest feats. This is their store that they created in LA. It's called Nike by Melrose, and it was founded on the idea of leveraging localization, customization, and omni-channel strategies. The store itself was specifically designed to cater directly to LA residents living within a 5-mile radius of the store itself. Now, they were able to curate their products based on information gathered through online purchases, as well as data gathered through the Nike Plus app. Now that we understand a little bit more about how to curate product offerings, I want to talk about how to curate a retail experience. Now, we do know that nearly 90% of today's consumers will actually pay more for a better customer experience. But how can you implement this in your retail initiatives? Well, one great example that we've seen come to fruition on trendhunter.com is an insight called Beyond Insta Retail, where today's brands understand that they need to offer their consumers more than just an Instagram-friendly wall in order to lure them into their retail shops. So while this is definitely a great example to leverage for your own brands, something else I want to talk about today is the insight Theatrical Retail, where brands are creating intensively immersive experience for their consumers, so they actually truly feel like they're part of the path to purchase. One leader in this space is Showfields. Now, Showfields is essentially a gallery of pop-up shops located in one single venue. They allow brands to come in and rent out space for a much more condensed period of time. So instead of renting out the space for 12 months, here you have the opportunity to rent it for just 3 or 4 months. They also offer this to brands at a hyper-reduced rent. Instead of paying $1 million, here you might only pay $6,000 or $8,000 per month. And they wanted it to be incredibly immersive, so they encouraged all of the brands who were participating at the pop-up event to incorporate scent, touch, taste, and even sound. They also wanted to have an educational factor, so they incorporated workshops, touchscreens, and even tutorials. Now, if Showfields is a bit too fast-paced for you, our second example is an alternative method to really create an immersive retail experience for your consumers. This example comes to us from a partnership between IKEA and Draw Light. It's their creation of the IKEA Dream Room. What they did was they created an entire sensorial experience to help consumers get a better night's sleep. They did this by actually transforming IKEA's bedrooms into a very calm, relaxing environment, leveraging different technological touchpoints. So in order for you to really create the future of retail, leveraging the megatrend of curation, consider reducing your offerings, thinking more locally, and of course, creating different immersive experience for your consumers. So that brings us to the end of our curation module. Now, a workshop question for you to consider is, how can your brand create a curated experience that goes viral? And I'll see you at the next module.